I do call this meeting of the Upper Big Blue NRD to order. If you are able, I would like you to join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As normal, the no Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the room. Public notice was published in the York News Times. I have a copy of it up here if anyone wants to see it. Reminder that please shut off all your cell phones or silence them during the meeting. Please be aware that this meeting is being recorded. When speaking, desktop microphone button must be depressed. This ensures your comments are recorded in the entire context. The recording becomes part of the public record along with written board minutes in accordance with state statute. Roll call. Bethune. Here. Anthony Bahati. Richard Bahati. Dickinson. Here. Eppersbacher. Ottershell. Here. Keener. Here. News. Here. Audie. Here. Perry. Here. Peterson. Here. Siebert. Here. Staley. Here. Stair. Here. Weiss. Here. Yates. Here. Miller. Here. You want to try another Bahati? Richard Bahati. I'm here. I got it.
We have a quorum.
You already got him. Marie, is my mic working?
Try again, please.
I don't have a green light.
It is working.
Okay, we don't need green lights then. Do we have any directors who asked for excused absences? None. Okay. Adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Been moved to the second to adopt the agenda. Any comments? Roll call. Richard. Yes. Dickinson.
Yes.
Ottershell.
Yes.
Keener. Yes. News.
Yes.
Potty.
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Peterson.
Yes.
Siebert. Yes. Staley.
Yes.
Stair. Yes. Weiss.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Miller. Yes.
Motion carried.
You should have been emailed the minutes and they were hot off the press, handed to you a few minutes ago. Is there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? Roll call. Dickinson.
Yes.
Ottershell.
Yes.
Keener. Yes. News.
Yes.
Audie.
Yes.
Perry. Yes. Peterson.
Yes.
Siebert.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Stair.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Miller. Yes.
Motion carried.
We now have a presentation from Cornerstone Insurance Group to explain to us all the ins and outs of current insurance.
Please depress the button on the microphone till the light turns green, please. Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening. My name is Ben Royal, and I'm with Cornerstone Insurance Group. And this is Kelly Cadavy. Kelly's also with Cornerstone Insurance Group. We have worked with the Upper Big Blue for 20 plus years on the insurance. Started that relationship back when I came to York almost 19 years ago and worked with John and Nancy since that time. The renewal for the insurance is coming up here on July 1, and we begin preparation work for that. And so we just wanted to come before you and kind of give an update on some of the marketing efforts we've done and what we're seeing overall in the marketplace to kind of give you an idea of what we're anticipating for the renewal. We do not have the exact numbers yet, but we're being told that most likely the increase is going to be somewhere in the single digits. And so there will be some modifications to the plan because of the past claims over the last 6 years. The loss ratio on the auto and the property are running a little over 100%, meaning that for every dollar you've paid out, they've paid back in claims a little over that. And so insurance companies are trying to get back into a profitable position right now. Since 2022, there's been a large number of pretty catastrophic storm events that are driving up the overall rates in the industry. You've probably experienced that on your own auto, home, farm insurance. So not only because of the recent storm activity, but also inflation, which is averaging around 15% over that 3-year period. And so those factors are going into that, what's driving the rate. So we've got other commercial properties that we insure in and around York. And what we're seeing very similar things with even higher increases on premium than what we're anticipating for the Upper Big Blue this year. Deductibles are another thing that companies are really trying to work on increasing. And so we're seeing percentage deductibles. Just for example, if you had $1 million property, a 1% deductible is pretty common. So you'd have a $10,000 deductible for that building. The NRD has a deductible per location. And so if this location were to get hit by a hail or a tornado, just one deductible would apply to the whole premises, as opposed to some other properties we work with here in York where it'd be per building. And so we feel that's, again, pretty good. As far as our working relationship, we work with an insurance company called FNIC, which is part of First National Bank of Omaha. First National Bank of Omaha, or FNIC, has a relationship with an insurance company called Glatfelter. And Glatfelter was kind of referred to us from Nancy and John back when we lost insurance coverage through EMC. EMC made a decision that they no longer wanted to work with the Upper Big Blue because of the high hazard dam, and they couldn't get the insurance coverage in place for that type of risk through their reinsurance carrier. And so we've worked with Glatfelter, and Glatfelter insures 15 out of the 23 NRDs in the state of Nebraska. So they've got a really good feeling for what their risk and the exposure is. One of the unique coverages that they offer is for they call it dam failure. So like back in 2019, when there was the big flood event and that dam up at Spencer broke free, a lot of catastrophic damage, obviously, from that. Well, your policy would provide some coverage in the event that would happen. And that's a unique coverage. Obviously, that carries a great deal of exposure, and Glatfelter is one of the few companies that will cover that type of a risk. So they've got some other unique coverages as well, where they do some blanket coverage and so forth. They've got zero glass deductible for if you have a chip repair and so forth, or I guess full glass on that as well. So we feel like Glatfelter's been a good partner. There's somebody that's committed to the marketplace where we've seen other companies pull back. Kelly's done a lot of work in the office, is trying to reach out to other carriers. We want to make sure that we're making sure that we're offering a competitive price that's got some comprehensive coverage to meet the needs of the NRD. So yeah, so sorry, kind of talking fast, rambling here a little bit, but wanted to appreciate the opportunity to come in, introduce ourselves once again. I've been here a time or two before, but Kelly does a lot of the field work on that. And I don't know if you've got anything you'd like to add, Kelly, or are there any questions?
Are we looking at increasing some deductibles, or are we just going off percentages? Obviously, I've increased some deductibles just personally, just to decrease some prices, but I guess as an NRD, are we just going off percentages? Are we increasing our deductibles or any of that?
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to meet with Dave and Nancy a few days ago, and that was one of the things they had suggested during that meeting, was looking at some higher property deductibles to see what impact that would have on premium. If it's minimal, we probably wouldn't recommend that, but if there's significant savings, then we will certainly. So yes, we are looking into that as well. The other thing I had mentioned too was that the district currently has a $3 million umbrella policy and a $1 million underlying. When the Spencer Dam broke, there was a lawsuit against the NPPD for $5 million. So what would happen if that happened to you guys is that the insurance company, Glatfelter, would defend and pay claims on your behalf. The amount of lawyers to defend that claim are outside of that $1 million limit, or that 3 million. So it's in addition to that. Your policy, the way it's structured currently, would pay a maximum of $4 million if you were deemed negligent for some type of event like that. We had suggested maybe looking at higher limits. So that's another thing. When the renewal comes out, we're going to also look at what it would cost to add, say, another $1 million or $2 million of layer on top of that. So we're also looking at that in addition.
What do you think is adequate?
Well, that's a great question. And I know that I need to look this up, but I believe that like municipalities, for example, in the state of Nebraska, there's a $5 million cap. And I don't know if that applies to you guys as well, but if it does, maybe that would be our cap of at least get it up to 5 million in that. But I'll do some checking before we meet and talk about that.
Chance to ask questions on that.
Well, the Spencer Dam was a lot bigger dam than any facility we have even close to anything we were dealing with. I mean, the Spencer Dam was a pretty good sized facility. It was concrete and everything else. We're not dealing with anything of that size.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
sure. Yeah, so it's really your tolerance for the risk and whatever you want to do. So we can just make the recommendation, inform you, and then you guys can make a decision based on what you feel is the adequate amount.
When we were talking the other day, when the four of us met, we were talking about, for instance, like the Hastings Northwest structure. And there's a lot of, people downstream of that. That could be, if that would breach or something, that could be a big deal.
On that insurance,
the Gladfeld is basically the only one that will insure dams. And that's who we have all of our insurance through, and the rest of our property and stuff. I suppose they won't just insure the dams and then get the rest insurance with another company, or does it have to be bundled together? And I hate to use that term because that's, you hear that all the time, but they're splitting it up and have one just for dams and then go with another company that might be, I'm going to say, more competitive.
Yeah. So when we work through FNIC, we compare like what you're paying, for example, on your auto rate. And when we look at that per line, that auto rate is very competitive. The other thing is when we start breaking up policies, particularly on the liability side, that umbrella that I was talking about, that 3 million, that's an extra layer above those. So we have to really have all the underlying coverage with one company to make that whole package make sense. And honestly, property right now is one of the most difficult lines to insure. And so if we take and remove the property, most likely it's going to be considerably higher than if we do that. So that helps pull it all together. But good question. And yeah, if there was a way we could do that, particularly we found in the past, work comp rates have come down over the last 5 years or so. But it used to be that we would write a monoline work comp policy outside, and we would try to look at that from a rate standpoint. We're not doing that as much anymore, but because work comp's just gotten way more competitive.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Want to approach the elephant in the room. What does Cornerstone Insurance Group bring to us that I couldn't go out and get at another larger insurance agent?
Well, I like to think the one thing is local service. And so I feel like we've been prompt to respond to needs that do come up. We're able to come to meetings like this in a moment's notice, or, with some planning. I think being a part of the community, it elevates the desire to protect our reputation. Therefore, I feel like our care to make sure that things are insured adequately goes a little bit stronger than somebody who may be out of town that wouldn't have that same vested interest. And I'm not trying to downplay a competitor. I'm just saying that I think that would elevate our desire because of our unique relationship within the community, our investment here. The question was asked the other day too about with FNIC, if you just went directly to them, would that be savings to the NRD? And our compensation is shared with the NRD. So Glatfelter is paying a percentage to FNIC. FNIC in turn is giving us a percentage of that revenue. So if you went directly to FNIC, you'd be paying the same premium. So there's no additional savings by doing that. They're a lot larger of an entity than us. So I think them showing confidence in us to have Kelly and I come out here and speak a little bit on their behalf also shows the confidence that they have in us, that we know what we're doing, I guess, when it comes to insurance.
Any other questions?
This is maybe it's a little different area, but what about, okay, what is the NRD's liability? I mean, let's say, okay, an employee's driving a vehicle and runs red light, kills a woman and a little baby. Is there a limit on NRD, or how is that handled, or coverage?
Yeah, great question. So we insure the commercial auto exposure for the NRD, and we also have a Symbol 1. Symbol 1 is the broadest form of coverage that we can provide on a commercial auto policy, because the definition of that is any auto. So even if you as board members are doing work on behalf of the NRD, we could potentially have coverage under that commercial auto policy to defend and pay claims on your behalf. So in that example there, we have a $1 million limit on the commercial auto. So that would pay out, again, there would be defense outside of that $1 million limit. We'd pay up to $1 million, and then we have the umbrella that would pay, could pay up to another $3 million. So $4 million total in that scenario.
So if Doug's on his way to a board meeting tonight and gets in a wreck, the NRD potentially has coverage on that?
Well, potentially. I mean, that would be up to the insurance company to make that final determination. But the entity, the Upper Big Blue NRD, has a $1 million limit for any auto. So if you've got an employee that's using their personal vehicle to run to the post office or whatever it may be, that would fall into that category. Your personal auto policy in that example would pay first, but if those limits then get exhausted, then the commercial auto would step in.
I remember.
Drive carefully.
Why are you picking on Doug?
I mean, anymore, I mean, if something crazy happened like that and you took out a mother when it had a job and you left a dad with little kids, I mean, is $3 million going to cover that?
Yeah,
Or
and that's
more?
why we suggested that maybe looking at that higher limit to see how much additional money that would cost, and then come back and you guys can make a decision then if you want to increase that or not.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Patient at your
Kelly.
your bid for next month, right?
We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Next time, leave the suit coat at home.
Yeah. That scares us. We now have a presentation from Seth Norquist on the PCM program. You're on to Seth.
Hello, everybody. Zach, you'll need to press that for the green light.
There you go. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Seth Norquist. I'm a precision conservation management specialist here in Upper Big Blue region. And I'm originally from McCool Junction, Nebraska. I live in Lincoln right now. And a little bit of my background, I went to University of Nebraska-Lincoln, studied agronomy, got my undergraduate there. I got my graduate or my master's degree there. And then I started this role back in April of 24. Okay. So a little bit of background about what precision conservation management does. We work with farmers and looking at 3 different aspects of conservation, and those 3 different categories are cover crops, nitrogen management, and then tillage reduction. Can you click next? We want to understand how these conservation practices equate to profitability, and we want to position farmers to benefit from the positive outcomes from these practices. Can we go back a little bit?
Back one.
Yeah, I'm trying to read some of this text
Okay.
here. Okay, next one.
Forward or back?
Forward. And farmers in the program, they get access to one-on-one technical support, that one-on-one being with me. And we have a data collection platform that's very unique, and a lot of farmers really like that platform. It's very handy. And we also have agronomy resources and expertise. Okay, next one. And each year we provide them with a resource analysis and assessment report featuring financial and sustainability benchmarking. And this is with farmers across Nebraska. We have a Western Nebraska counterpart to myself in Gothenburg. So we're comparing how farmers are doing across the entire state financially and sustainability. And we also have economic cost tables to really dive into where the benefits are being seen financially from some of these different practices. And then we also have environmental assessments to see the soil health outcomes of these practices. And there's a $750 participation payment that we pay farmers. That's a one-time payment. And then after that, the data should provide enough value to farmers that they want to continue to work with me. And we have exclusive program offers such as cost share and other practice assistance. We are working on getting peer-to-peer education, such as field day events and other networking opportunities. And just to summarize, we are a farmer first program, providing access to different experts. We have the exclusive cost share opportunities. We collect a lot of the farmers' data, such as sensitive data, such as yields and how much nitrogen is applied, et cetera. And we take our data security very seriously. So there's no opportunity for a data breach in our system. And that personalized data analysis, sitting down with the farmer each year, is very valuable to the farmers. And in this program, there's no practice change required. We want the farmer to make the decisions for themselves and have the data show them whether or not it's profitable to make a conservation practice change on their operation. Like I mentioned, we have Darren over in the Gothenburg region. He's been there a few years, and he's up to, I think, about 90 farmers he works with in that area now. They're very fortunate to have a very lucrative Frito-Lay program in that area that pays farmers pretty well for conservation practices. And then I'm here in the York region. within about 2 hours of a drive from York. It's kind of the area I cover. And I started back in April of 24. Okay. And some of the participation statistics on this eastern region are, go to the next. So like I mentioned, recruitment began after I started in June of 24. Currently have 8,000 acres enrolled with farmers. 8 farmers make up that 8,000 acres. And I have 1,300 acres in conservation tillage programs currently, and 50% of farmers that I work with in the program are enrolled in nitrogen reduction programs. And some of the data reporting that we do, we have the personalized resource analysis assessment plan that we go over with farmers each winter. We go over that in about February and kind of go over what their operations looking like and what the other practices are looking like in Nebraska. And then we also have a aggregated data set that we're looking to publish in Illinois. They have this program and it's covering basically the whole state, and they have a very robust data set that they put out in publications to farmers, and farmers see a lot of value in that. So future goals for PCM, looking to add about 20 to 25 growers this year. I would love to add as many as I can. The max for a specialist is about 100 per region. Another goal is to increase profitable conservation practices in the area. We don't want to promote too many practices and then put farmers out of business. It's not good business. So, and also connect farmers to cost share opportunities. With PCM, we have some exclusive cost share opportunities, so we want to connect farmers to those. Then overall, just improve row crop farming, environmental impact, reduce that nitrogen loss. The water nitrate is a issue here in the district, so we're looking to mitigate that nitrogen loss through this program. Precision conservation management has worked with 500 farmers. That was our number in 23. I think it's closer to 550 in 24, and that's in Illinois, Nebraska, and Kentucky. And they have some pretty staggering numbers over their 10-year tenure. Over 1 million pounds of nitrogen loss reduction and some phosphorus and soil reduction as well. I spoke about the exclusive programs. This one is a statewide program. So whether you're in York or Chadron, this program is available. It's a cover crop incentive payment made available by the Advancing Markets for Producers Initiative. It was recently Climate Smart, but they rebranded it, and we're starting to roll that out. We're going to start rolling that out here pretty soon for fall planted cover crops this year. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I got my phone number, my email on there, or I can answer some now. I know you guys have a lot on the agenda, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you.
Dave, could you review the financial portion of this program?
Sure. Seth's wages and benefits are passed through from the Illinois Corn Board. We claim him as our employee, but he actually works for PCM. His position costs us nothing. They supply the transportation, the pickup, the cell phone. All we do is supply a meeting place for him. Typically, he comes in every Monday, participates in the water meetings, but then he is not officed in this facility every day of the week. He does receive some telephone support. If there's a telephone message comes in, Angie or Patty will take the message and make sure he gets it, but that's the most that we provide to him.
Now, other questions? What success have you had getting people to sign up in this area?
I've kind of been relying on some of my past connections, some of my work experiences. So it's kind of more spread out. I'm looking to fill the gaps a little bit, and getting more York County and Upper Big Blue farmers included. I still go within the range of 2 hours from York, but there's some lower Big Blue as well in there. So yeah, it's tough when you have a conservation in your name. Not a lot of people want to work with you when you do that, and we want to create a well-rounded data set, and that includes some of the farmers that aren't implementing conservation on their operation. So
Good. Who owns the data? You were talking about collecting data.
Mhm.
Who owns that? Does that stay with the farmer, or is that something that PCM owns? Who actually owns that data?
PCM owns it. We aren't going to sell it. And we can, whenever a farmer wants to leave the program, we just delete all their data. We don't keep it.
So would they have an opportunity if there was still a carbon market potentially somewhere along the way that they could use that? And I didn't know, maybe you have programs that are involved with that.
Yeah, that is one of the benefits of being in the program. A lot of the inputs that carbon markets would ask for, or say like the 45Z, if they want some of the inputs, you can go back and use PCM booklets with all of your data, and then you can show them, this is what I applied, this is what my yield was, up to however long you've been giving us data. So that's kind of one of the benefits, is you have a nice book of all of your data for record keeping purposes.
What's been your biggest barrier besides, I guess, said the conservation stuff? How do you even get some farmers to do farmers just not even talk to you, or do they at least give you a chance to talk to them?
Well, the farmers are always just so busy all the time, and we do offer the $750 enrollment to them, but some farmers, that's not enough for them to join, and we don't have much of a time commitment. We're talking 4 to 6 hours a year, depending on how big of a farmer you are. So just getting them to sit down with you for a few hours is kind of difficult, and getting them to see the value is kind of difficult as well. I think some farmers are just set in their ways and they think they're doing everything right already. So, and it's hard to convince farmers to kind of make changes or even consider making a change sometimes. So.
Seth, have you seen a lot of the focus of many of these programs along your areas of focus here on your handout? I've seen a lot of the incentives are directed towards farmers that are not using any of these conservation practices, or have not up until that point. And then there's a subset of farmers that have been, say for example, you've got a farmer that's been no-tilling for 30 years and split applying nitrogen and doing everything that he's supposed to be. Well, he can't take advantage of those incentives because he's been doing that for a long time on his operation. Are you seeing more or less? I guess the easier way to put it is, are you seeing folks change their programs so you can capture some of those folks that are doing the right thing already, or is it still the focus trying to bring those folks that are tilling and maybe over applying or not split applying nitrogen, trying to bring those up to the mean?
I think it kind of depends. Some of the big players, like a PepsiCo, may be interested in meeting some of their sustainability goals, and to do that, they can claim some of the practices that you do, and that doesn't require you to be a first-time cover crop, for instance. So something like that would be very nice to have, but yeah, there's not a lot of those programs out there, and you've got to be directly in their supply chain area where they get the grain.
So you mentioned out in Gothenburg that he's got Frito-Lay or whatever. Does that incentivize it more? Are they incentivizing it more to get into the program out there?
It's not a large dollar amount, but it covers any farmer that wants to put cover crops or reduce their tillage or reduce their nitrogen on their farm. They can get some money for doing that. And if you're a farmer out there that has 5,000 acres, a $5 payment's going to probably make you want to do something. So it's a pretty nice program for them out there to do that.
So to that end, is Frito-Lay basically asking their farmers to enroll in this because then it gives them credit, or is that what's driving up numbers over there?
Yeah, they want to meet their sustainability goals, and that's how they see that. It is directly into their supply chain, so it's a win-win for them.
Any other questions? I have seen the presentation and probably some of the rest of you have NARD meetings. The Illinois people, I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but they're very successful. Have a lot of operators participating. Yep. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We now go on to the Water and Regulations Committee.
The Water and Regulations Committee met Tuesday, May 6, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. at the NRD office. Those who participated are the committee members Bethune, Bohati, Dickinson, Audie, Peterson, myself, Spear, and Miller. Other staff, directors, and guests are also listed. I acknowledge the legal notice of the committee meeting was published in the New York News Times. Also that for those present that the Open Meeting Act is posted in the entrance to the back to the boardroom. Our action items: consideration of adding water meter to approved list. Aviv, Vered, and go ahead. I just need that. Oh no, I was just saying for the names. You can just wait 1 second. Provided the committee. Here, give me 1 second to get everything put on. Committee with.
I believe.
Oh, here, let me.
No,
Just wait a second.
just wait till I get this completely introduced. Aviv provided the committee with 2 examples of the electromagnetic flow meters. The Burmad company would like to be added to the district's approved flow meter list. The MC10 for pipe diameter of 2 to 6 inches and the MUT 2300 for pipe diameters 2 to 12 inches. Specs were provided for both meters and both meet the minimum requirements for the district. Both meters are designed to have 0 distance requirements for placement in the pipeline. The batteries have a 7 to 10 year life, but for the conditions and applications here, a more realistic battery life would be 5 to 7. Staff could be trained and certified to replace batteries at a list price of $200 a piece. The motion was to add the MC10 and the MUT 2300/MC 406 Burmad meters to the district's approved list. This motion carried 7 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and second. Now we're ready.
All right. Yeah, it works. Thank you for having me here again tonight. My name is Aviv, spelling it AVIV. I'm with a company named Burmad. Burmad is a company specialized in water management solutions. We are leading the irrigation market for 60 years now this year. The company has 14 subsidiaries around the world with over 1,200 employees. Here, Burmad North America is located, the office is located in Fresno, California, and we are serving the North America market here in about 42 years, give or take. I'm here tonight to ask for your approval to add those 2 meters that you see on the table here, the MUT 2300 and the M10 flow meters. I'm asking to add it to the approval flow meter list. Specs should be on the front of you on those product information packages that you have there. And I'm happy to answer any questions that will come up.
The spec sheets were handed out at the committee. I think most of the ones that were here. I do have a few if you'd like to, if you don't have one would like it, I can get them for you here. What the meter? Sure.
So the meter that Terry is holding here, this is the M10. That meter is kind of unique meter in the market. It's made of polymeric materials, composite materials, right? We are looking at the range of 2 to 6 inches. That will fit applications where I would say around 600 to 700 gallon per minute maximum. The other meter, that's a cast iron meter. That case here, it's a 2-inch. I can't really fly with a larger than that. They're already arresting me almost with that. So they always asking me the TSA, what is this bomb? But yeah. And that's another reason why I removed grounding wires from that. So that meter is at the range between 2-inch up to 12-inch. The advance of both meters that you see here, those meters are what we call 0D, which is mean it doesn't require any pipe distance between the meter and other devices on the line. Most meters today are 5 diameters and 2 diameters to make sure we will have a straight flow. With those meters, we are able to install it as a direct device with or without other parts on the line. It can be a valve, it can be anything else that goes on the main line. Both meters here are what we call a digital meters, which will be a mag meter technology. Both meters have the ability to connect remotely and to be connected to a phone or to a PC, depends on the module that will be installed with the meters. The meter that we have here, the MUT 2300, as you can see, there is the white sleeves in that. That's to protect the meter from any damage can cause by fertilized. With the M10, we're already, just from the material it's been built, it will be protected itself.
Any other questions?
Have you had any problems with condensation getting in on the readout?
Say it again, Bill, please.
Have you had any problems with condensation on the electronic readout?
So those meters are working for a few years, I want to say 5 to 6 years now in California. We did not have any issues with readings. The fact that both meters are equipped with overall 5 totalizers, 2 negative, 2 positive, and 1 net, also helped us to make sure the read is accurate.
Any other questions? Comments?
Teresa.
Yeah.
How much would it cost ballpark just to convert it to read it remotely? Because you said it doesn't read remotely right now. You'd have to add some module to it.
Right. The M10, which is the smaller one, the black one here, that would be, it's a built-in. There is no add-on to it. The other one, the 2300, there is an extra module that approximately, I want to say $200 to $250 to add remote reading onto it,
Okay, thanks.
of course.
Any questions? Roll call.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
No.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
No.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
No.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
That carried 13-4.
It will be added to our list.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay, next item. There were 11 aquifer quality well abandonment cost share assistance program applications have been reviewed by staff and approved for final payment totaling $9,100. A list is attached. A motion to make cost share payments for 11 well abandonments as reviewed by the committee at a cost of $9,100. This motion carried 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item, 8 water meter repair cost share assistance applications were reviewed by staff and recommended for final payments totaling $3,051.48. A list is attached. The motion to make cost share payments for 8 water meter repair cost share assistance applications in the amount of $3,051.48. This motion carried 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
second,
Move second. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Keener,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item D. The committee reviewed the irrigated acres certification for 5 parcels totaling 328.07 acres, yielding an increase in irrigated acres of 191.34. The total irrigated acres within the district is now 1,249,911.90 acres. Motion to certify acre changes as presented to the committee. This motion carried 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item E, rules enforcement, orders of cease and desist, water use reports, and phase 2 and 3 reporting. 4 operators have come into compliance with Rule 5 by reporting their irrigation water use and one of the phase 2 and 3 reporting. A list is attached. Item 1, the other water use reporting update is 81 of the 167 other reports have been received by the district. The second is to issue orders of cease and desist on phase 2 and 3 expired training orders to be issued. Staff provided a list of producers who have not complied with Rule 5, Chapter 20, Paragraph 2, requiring recertification every 4 years of the operator's phase 2 and 3 training. Staff have followed the steps outlined in the district's rules and regulations and issued a complaint notice, violation notice, and an intent to issue an order of cease and desist and desist schedule of compliance notice. A list is attached. Motion to issue order of cease and desist to all producers listed on the attached phase 2 and 3 expired training spreadsheet that are out of compliance with phase 2 and 3 Hastings Management Area Rule 5, Chapter 20, Paragraph 02. This motion carried with 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. That would be.
That would be the blue
That's
list.
the blue list
side.
here. These were held out of the packets until 5 o'clock tonight, when we made sure that we had everybody off of the list that we could get off of the list, so.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
Audie,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershelt,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 3 under rules enforcement, issue orders of cease and desist, failure to submit 2024 to 2025 phase 2 and 3 reporting and Hastings Management Area. Staff provided a list of producers who have not complied with Rule 5, Chapter 20, Paragraph 06 annual reporting requirements. Staff have followed the steps outlined in the district rules and regulations and issued a complaint notice, violation notice, and an intent to issue an order of cease and desist and a cease and desist schedule of compliance notice. A list is attached. That will be this list, which is on the back of the blue page. Off that list, you need to cross out Randy Jensen, who has complied, as well as James Roth. Okay, and this will be the list that the motion will be referring back to. Motion to issue order of cease and desist for all producers listed on the attached 2024-2025 phase 2 and 3 Hastings order to cease and desist spreadsheet for out of compliance with phase 2 and 3 and Hastings Management Area Rule 5, Chapter 20, Paragraph 06. This motion carried 8 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. My count was right, is it 29?
Yes, I think, yeah, that's what I ended up with.
Go ahead.
So one, can you remind me what the names in bold are?
Okay, the names that are in bold are the ones that have received multiple orders.
Like they have a water one as well, or?
No, these are all multiple phase 2 and 3.
All phase 2,
Or
3.
mul-
Okay.
Multiple phase 2
and 3.
Okay, but not year, or year after year.
Yeah, it's year after year that there's up to 3 years, I think some of these have not reported. Most of those are on dry land parcels.
Okay, and then second one was, I did get contacted by somebody who's no longer on this list. They came into compliance already. But they had brought up to me that they had been contacted by their landlord, that they had gotten the notice about it, but they hadn't received any of the previous notices. Is that most likely just
I really don't know where to go with that statement. I've had others say that they have not gotten it. I mean, if they are mailed out, there's the original packet mailed out, there's, at least 2 reminders that are sent out. And then you have your, the 3 different things that we send out to them, that they're out of compliance, you know. So I don't know when they get all of the information and every time we send out that.
Well, my question would be, if this was just on one field, if they got all the other information, you know, they've received all their others and stuff, it sounds like it's probably just one field, there's
And then
something, there's a
somehow or
glitch in the
another-
system there.
Yeah, what happens is that field changed and for some reason nobody notified us that it changed from one operator to another. And so they may not have gotten that. So it's, you know, kind of falls back on them to let us know, or the landowner to let us know that those have changed. So that's usually where we run into it. Nobody happened to forget about it. I mean, I've had one come in the other day, well, I'm not farming that one anymore. Oh, well, that's fine. You know, do you know who is? And we found out who was and moved from there. So. And I would say that it really helped after the water committee meeting, there was the suggestion to send out a letter to the landowners themselves. So we did send a letter out to the landowners, and I would say that's where 99% of the ones that come in compliance with, they got their landlords contacted them and said, hey, what's going on here? And they were very prompt about getting stuff in, so.
Any other questions? Does everybody understand the motion? Any issues, cease and desist orders for these individuals? Roll call.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Abstain.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Carried 16-1.
Discussion and no action items. Staff provided the committee with the first draft of the 25-26 budget. The document was reviewed line by line, with deduction made where past budget line items were overestimated. Also, there were some new projects with increased line items. Note the following day, Brisk reviewed the numbers and found the line item expenses for Precision Ag and NRCS RCPP grant totaling $195,000 is expensed out of the salary line item in the executive budget, but the income is shown in the water department budget. These 2 expenses and incomes will offset each other in the consolidated budget when it is presented. With the correction, the water department first draft budget, May 6th of 25, which is in the packet, shows a reduction of $180,810 at this time. Rule 5 pooling. Staff provided the committee with a copy of the rules regarding pooling, a document outlining the pooling irrigation acres and summary of 24 groundwater irrigation withdrawal, which shows the current average acres and pool size. Blanket now presented possible changes to the agreement pool dependent on the case which is before the Nebraska Supreme Court. This ruling could change the process of how districts handle an agreement pool. After reviewing the current rule, the discussion on how the pooling relationship of acres irrigated is based on the land irrigated, not on the acres irrigated by a given well. The general census seems the current rules regarding pooling provide the producer with a flexible tool to manage the irrigation and crop needs, even if allocations were to be put in place. Water level change. Staff provided the committee with the 25 groundwater level change map and the 25 average groundwater level change graph. Spring 25 has seen an average decline of 0.39 inches, which leaves the district 3.21 feet above allocation trigger. There was a request for last year's map to be attached to the committee minutes. Map and graph are attached. All permit summaries can be looked at on your own time, and I have no additional information.
Terry, what was, I know we went through this once, what was the amount of water pumped average last year across the district?
The average pump last
Per
year,
acre, yeah.
the average last year was a little over 9 inches, like 9.6, I wanna say.
Well, I did.
And then this
I just
year's
said-
was 5.5 inches. So
Mine was 23.
mine was 23, this last year was, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. 5.5 inches last year, 9 some the year before.
The year before that.
So we dropped a little more than we expected to, because we usually run around 7
I
inches.
was pretty satisfied with the
Yeah.
drop that we had, this year. I'm concerned now with early pumping starting now, so.
Oh, just a quick question, same thought. When will that kind of be published? I caught some questions today regarding
Now
what the
that it's
level
been
was.
through here, it'll be put out on the website and that, so yes.
Okay.
These are questions as long as, how do you lump this? And this is another where he finds about 3 into your town, so above that, right, set 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right. There's 3. Here's up to the back in the. Oh yeah, there's 0.39 inches, like yes, like all of your counties, except 2 are, one is almost there. Basically, in one county, you're this and these supposed to got some guilt you have.
Yeah, it's averaged all together, so, with those ones, the minuses, that brings that up, because we had, and then the minuses are the negatives and the positives basically outweighed the negatives this time, so we had a 0.19 increase in Butler County and a 0.33 feet increase in Fillmore County, and then the 0.6 in Polk counties. So those were enough to keep the average. So we only had that 0.39 drop. So
Question on this pooling. I don't even know if this is the time to bring it up, but if that system goes through west of the pool, why are we gonna, the people that are going to that solar system, why are you going to take our pooling right? I don't have any problem, I don't have any solution. Why would you take the pooling rights away from the people that have a order that they put into the solar, if it goes through, and take that pooling right away from them, so they can't use that 10 inches a year? Why did we do this, or why did we put that in the rules? Or it seems to me you're punishing people for not using water.
I guess the concern, Paul, was the fact that if they would have, an area in that, and then they would take that whole 10 inches and use it in a water short area, that it could potentially cause a problem there. So it's just that I think at the time the committee and the board felt that it was just better just to those acres just basically go in suspense, and they can't be included in the pool until they come back out again.
Taxes.
Like I said, that was a decision the board made, and there was a lot of reasons both ways, so.
So if they have an equal amount in and out, they could then have 20 inches rather than 10 inches.
On one farm. If they have an order in the program, they're not gonna use any of their 10 inches. So let's say they've got 5 other farms, they can add that 10 inches to those 5 other farms.
But if they only had one other one, they could be 20 inches rather than.
Is that, but that's not their fault.
Those anchors are not, they're, how did you put it? They're still certified, but
They're still
not
certified, they're just in, basically, we call it in suspense.
in suspense, yeah.
Yeah, so that they'll be able to get that back when those come out of their agreement with the solar farm, so.
John, I look at it just the opposite. They chose to take their ground out of production and they're getting paid for the solar panel. So I don't think they should be able to pull it. I look at it 180 degrees different, Paul.
I just wanted to state that I think moving forward on this pooling, I think every field should stand on its own, and that would take care of this problem.
I just had a quick clarification. The notes say 0.39 inches decline. It's 0.39 feet, right?
Inches.
It's at 0.39 inches.
Right.
Oh, okay. The water committee meeting notes, I think,
No,
said
feet,
feet.
it's 0.39 feet, correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say.
Wow,
There is
that's-
a typo in there. Yeah. So the blue.
About this far.
The blue narrative is wrong, the map.
Is correct, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to say, it needs to say
39.
feet,
You're right.
not
Okay.
inches.
Yeah,
My
you're
mistake,
right.
sorry.
My attention.
Thank you for catching that.
Anything else on the water committee? Paul?
So Little Blue District released today. I'll just read what it says. For immediate release, Little Blue NRD enters mandatory groundwater allocation for current crop year for the next 5 years in hydraulic unit 1. This started today. They didn't give farmers any notice. They get 65 inches for 5 years. So 65 inches for 5 years.
They were on notice
So-
last year because they already
That it
knew
could become, yes.
65, 5 years.
So they get 13 inches.
13 inches, yeah.
Oh,
So,
Thank you. We'll go on to the projects programs committee.
Projects and Program Committee met 7 PM Thursday, May 8th at the NRD office in York. Present were committee members listed below, staff members listed below, other directors and guests. Action items. Is there some question? Just, yeah, just put it down, get your money. I'm trying. No, I think you were, and I just, yeah, you were here, yes, sir.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. There you are. Yeah. Okay, well, so, anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, let's start the action items. Land treatment program. There were 4 new land treatment project applications and 2 new RO system applications. The committee reviewed the land treatment program funding for fiscal year 2025. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment of 2 completed RO system projects with the cost share of $1,000. That motion carried 8 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
Second.
This is just for the RO programs. Comments, questions? Roll call.
Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
No.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershelt,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose. Yeah. Addie,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Miller.
Yes.
I carried 16-1.
I'm on the list. I haven't been paid yet. I should have probably abstained. Or, not to pay it. I don't know when that's coming up. I haven't looked at you. Right, that-
That's the names on the list.
That's the next. For approval. Okay, I'm sorry, Paul. Yeah, but I haven't been paid, so I didn't break any rules by voting yes, did I? No.
It was an approval for you.
Okay, well, I didn't get it. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that was for the RO system. You're on the tree damage.
Yeah, the tree damage. Yeah,
You haven't voted on that.
yeah, that's next.
No, I'm over here.
Oh, is he on the RO?
Oh, you're on the, oh, you are.
I
on the
just have an application in.
Yeah, but you're not-
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was for payment. Yeah, we're looking at 2 pages here. Okay.
Okay, I don't want to break the rules. I'm
All right,
sorry.
let's continue.
Nancy and Secretary, will you please change that vote to an abstention
On the,
on the RO?
is that what you want us to do?
Mr. Chairman,
I
He
can't
asked
vote
for an
for it.
abstention, we'll give it.
Okay. It's probably irrelevant anyway, but storm damage tree program. There were 5 new storm damage tree program applications with a total estimated cost share of $1,500. There were 2 completed storm damage tree projects. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment of 2 completed storm damage tree projects with a total cost share of $600. Motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Comments, questions? Roll call.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stair,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose, Addie,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Peterson,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C, the Water Quality Management Plan, Cover Crop Program, Land Treatment Program Cost Share. Staff presented a revised Water Quality Management Plan, Cover Crop Program that includes the cost share of $75 per acre with the max payment of $7,500 per landowner or operator per year. Contract would be for a 1-year term and cooperators can reapply, but first-time participants would be given priority. Cooperators must follow NRCS cover crop guidelines. The area of the program would be the entire Beaver Creek watershed and the wellhead protection areas within the Upper Big Blue NRD area. And there's a draft that you can look at. The smaller upper watershed area located in the Central Platte NRD, which is in Hall County, would not be eligible, but could be considered in the future. Applicants will be prioritized by riparian critical zones, very high runoff risk areas, high runoff risk areas, wellhead protection areas in the remainder of the Beaver Creek watershed. Applications would be due July 15th and NRD staff will rank applications and make selections by August 15th. The amount of available funding will depend on annual budgets. Applications received following July 15 deadline may be considered if all available funding is not allocated. The committee also reviewed the land treatment incentive program, which provides 90% cost share with a maximum of $15,000 for the Beaver Creek watershed. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD board adopt the Water Quality Management Plan, Cover Crop Program, and Land Treatment Incentive Program for the Beaver Creek watershed within the Upper Big Blue NRD boundary. The motion, the minutes show the motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, but that's incorrect. Jack called me yesterday. There was actually, it was 7 yes and 2 no. And so I so move.
Comments, Jack?
just a couple things that, from your draft, as discussed, we put statements in there that this will only be in the upper Big Blue entity only. I mean, I don't think it was clear on the draft. And we suggest moving the due date to July 18th. That's a Friday, just to make it a little bit easier on them. And also suggest not allowing somebody to do the water quality land treatment program and the cover crop program. So they can't do both. They can do one or the other. They could do the land treatment regular program. They wouldn't, so they'd get the 75% up to 10,000, but they couldn't get the 90% up to 15 if they do the cover crop, and it'd only be for that 1 year. And we also made that statement about applications received after the deadline could be included if there's funding available. I think we discussed that, but I don't know if it was written very clearly, so we did add that statement.
Does everybody understand?
Were these changes they were discussed by the committee, or these changes have taken place since the committee meeting?
Yes, I think most of them were discussed. I did add, I don't know that not letting them get on both the water quality plan programs we're in. There's limits on how much funding they get, but the water quality plan is kind of separate than the regular land treatment.
No other comments? Roll call.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eberspacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Peterson,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Miller,
No.
That carried 16-1.
Ballgren Dam cured in place pipelining. Subsurface Incorporated completed the cured in place pipelining project at Ballgren Dam on March 28th. Final invoice of $59,060 was reduced from the quoted amount of $64,355 due to not fully completing the road signage bid item. NRD staff was on site during construction and was satisfied with the contractor's traffic control process, but asked the contractor to reevaluate this bid item. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment of $59,060 to Subsurface Inc. for the cured in place pipe lining project completed at Ballgren Dam. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Moved, seconded. Comments, questions?
Jack, remind me, what size was that pipe? Just curiosity.
18-inch.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eberspacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
News,
Yes.
Audi,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Peterson,
Yes.
Seaver,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Motion carried.
The upstream face of Ballgren Dam has some moderate erosion. Staff would like to advertise a project to place rock on the upstream face of Ballgren Dam. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD staff solicit quotes for placing rock on the upstream face of Ballgren Dam. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
second,
Moved and seconded. Comments? I don't know whether everybody heard the answer. No. Roll call.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eberspacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener.
Yes.
Nuce. Yes. Audi.
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson.
Yes.
Seaver.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Stare.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Hazard mitigation plan update. JEO Consulting submitted invoice in the amount of $1,458.70 for work performed on the hazard mitigation plan update from March 15th to April 11th of 2025. The Nebraska Emergency Management Agency notified the NRD that the Federal Emergency Management Agency has approved the Upper Big Blue NRD Hazard Mitigation Plan. Remaining JEO work includes collecting agency adoption resolutions and distributing the final plan. Motion that the Upper Big Blue NRD approve payment of $14.5870 to JEO Consulting Group for work completed on the Upper Big Blue NRD multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan update from March through April 11th. That motion carried 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Yates.
Yes.
Bethune.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Dickinson.
Yes.
Eppersbacher.
Yes.
Ottershell.
Yes.
Keener.
Yes.
Nuce.
Yes.
Audi.
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson.
Yes.
Seaver.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Stare.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Discussion and no action items, publication and legal notice of the meeting, the Open Meetings Act posted by the boardroom, private dams program, the Dave Fiala Private Dam Project in Butler County has started construction. Construction is planned to be completed by June 15th. TM and DH Farms Private Dam west of Sutton is being designed by a private engineer, and the design is currently being reviewed by the Nebraska Department of Natural Resources. Nebraska Nitrogen Reduction Incentive Act, staff continues to monitor applications that were selected. If any drop out, staff will contact the next application in line. Fiscal year 2026 draft budget, staff presented the first draft of the fiscal year projects department budget for review. The staff presented the draft parks department budget for fiscal year 2026 review. Additional information, birding event, the T was held on May 3rd. So that's my report.
Thank you.
The Executive Committee met at 8:04 PM on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 at the NRD office in New York. Committee members present were Miller, Keener, Dickinson, Perry, Bethane, Bohadi, Audi, Seibert, and Yates. Board Chair Miller acknowledged that we published a legal notice of the committee meeting on April 29th, 2025 in the New York News Times. Miller advised those in attendance that the Open Meeting Act is posted by the entrance to the boardroom. Item A, Educational Capital Project Fund Application. Executive Committee reviewed the Educational Capital Project Fund application submitted by York Public Schools Foundation. The foundation has established the goal of building agri-science center to serve the York Public School District students. The center would allow students to explore more career pathways in agronomy, food science, natural resources, veterinary science, wildlife management, agriculture, technology, and meat science. The foundation has purchased real estate located near the York Public School Middle School and High School. The real estate currently has 3 buildings. The first building will be dedicated to classrooms and teacher offices and will contain ADA compliant restrooms. The second building will be a dedicated barn space for the district's animal lab. The center will provide students grades 6 through 12 with a unique opportunity to engage in hands-on career-related experiences across various fields within the agriculture industry. The foundation has invested $285,000 of its own funds in the project. It has secured funding in the amount of $552,000 from individual and corporate donors. Additional corporate and individual donors have pledged approximately $500,000 for the years of 2025, 2026, and 2027. At this point in time, the foundation has raised approximately $1,337,000 for the project. cap of fund amount requested is $10,000. The motion to award $10,000 for an ECAP grant to the York Public School Foundation for an Agri-Science Center. The motion carried 8 yes, 1 no, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, just a second.
Yep.
Okay. I believe we do have a couple representatives here tonight. They did provide the committee and those available with this handout last week. Anybody want to see it? It's quite a project. Anybody got any questions?
How many kids are involved in FFA at York?
So we currently have around 130 in the high school, we have over 100 in the middle school, so about 250, so 50%.
What's that compared to like other schools? Double, triple, okay. I just wanted to commend you. I've heard good things. I've been in New York for 12 years. Heard the FFA program has been great, and I just commend you on your involvement with it and keeping it up.
I did think of something since last week. So, I mean, with the money that you have pledged so far, raised so far, are you planning on getting like building 1 kind of up to speed first and then moving into building 2?
You want to get them a microphone?
I just run the lunchroom, so I know how to yell. No, we're gonna do the second building for the what is called the animal lab. I think we have to kind of get a different name for that because that has a really bad connotation to a lot of people when we say animal lab. But that's the one, and maybe Jason, and this is Jason Hirschfeld, for those who don't know who he is. He's kind of the lead guy here with all the creative ideas. And so he can tell you a little bit about how they're going to do that building.
So the first building is actually B on the flyer, and currently at the high school, we have 6 animal science courses kids can take to complete a pathway in animal science. And we have around 100 animals housed in the school building, all the way from mouse to pigs. Okay, and when the kids have to see complete production cycles, there's a mean to the madness with every animal that is housed. One really neat aspect is kids get assigned an animal to care, track, and record, feed, and watch and provide proper welfare for that animal. And the sense of responsibility that these kids get, the sense of empathy the kids build around that animal is actually beyond rewarding, and it's a great opportunity for these kids. And the whole goal is to provide them opportunities for a career pathway, to explore different careers and opportunities, not just animal science, but this is maybe a way to get kids to take our course. And then all of a sudden now they're taking a natural resource course, they're taking a agronomy course, they're exposing themselves to different career pathways within the world of ag and natural resources. So the big takeaway is we need more space for that animal lab. We currently average about 30 kids per class in animal science. And so to give more space and be more, I guess, even more hands-on, that'll be the first focus, is to get the animals out of the school and into this better facility. In that facility, we're going to have the east half of that building will be kind of like, I guess if you can envision, if the vision comes true, is kind of like a vet science clinic. Okay, so the kids are going to have companion animals in there. There's going to be opportunities for kids to have a truly hands-on opportunity. We recently just purchased an ultrasound machine. We have a centrifuge. We have different things to do parasite sampling, all the way to ultrasound our pregnant cat. Okay, and so there's a lot of really cool opportunities from a vet science, animal science perspective on that side. And on the west side, we're going to convert that to a facility where kids that do not have means to house an animal or raise an animal for the county fair exposition, they'll have a space there. The foundation was nice enough to grant us use of building C. And so we actually just very quickly, very briefly gave that opportunity, or announced that opportunity to our classes. And we have 9 kids and 14 animals in there now. And so we're going to have significant, and 2 kids came to me today and said, I got a pig, I need a space. Well, we have no pins available, but we'll get them, right? So we might have a couple more coming. And as we watch the county fair numbers decline, right? Each year the numbers get less and less. we're gonna actually have about a 30% increase in the swine show just because of this building for this summer. And I think that number is gonna continue to grow. And the facilities are awesome, the collaboration among kids, what they're learning, the skills, their families, it is quite remarkable. Sally came out the other evening, when all those kids are out working, exercising those pigs, and just what they're learning is phenomenal. And these are life skills beyond animal science. These are phenomenal transferable skills they're going to learn and take from this project. So that's the first focus. From there, we'll hopefully move into building C. That building won't take as much renovations, but we really want to explore agronomy. We want the hands-on aspect of agronomy. We want to explore natural resources. We do have a phenomenal opportunity with the new hire. So Mr. Dustin Bruce is going to join our ag staff. So we'll have 3 ag teachers, which is phenomenal. And there's only a handful of Class B schools that have 3 instructors. It's going to allow us to truly specialize and tap into all of our passions and all of our strengths. And so he has a huge strength in meat science and in agronomy. And so we're going to actually be able to offer some of those courses at a dual credit level. So the kids we have 21 courses that will be offered in our program because of this facility, and half will be dual credit through SEC. So kids can complete 2 certifications through SEC in this program. One's in welding and one is in ag fundamentals. And we're exploring an ag technology one as well. And so potentially 3 in the near future. But as we continue working on C, we'll be able to make those facilities. There's currently a walk-in cooler. We'll get that food grade safe. We'll put a rail in there. Kids can actually fabricate a carcass. And so I think that'll be quite amazing. Kids do not know where their food comes from. They don't know where their water comes from. Okay. They don't know what tools are. Okay. And so by having these hands-on approaches will be phenomenal, not only for their literacy, but if we can spark an interest and get them interested in agriculture, and we're seeing that happen today, kids that had no idea what ag is, they're exploring careers and going to college in ag. And I think that's phenomenal. It's a testament to the opportunities that the foundation, the school are providing our students through opportunities like this. And it takes donors like you guys, which is phenomenal that you're even considering this. So we're very, very appreciative. And then obviously the final one will be the middle building. This will be converted to classrooms. Another aspect is we potentially will open the building on Saturdays, and this has to be approved through the school. But with FFA, kids have to create an SAE or supervised ag experience. This is a small business, or they have to work for somebody, or they have to volunteer in their community, and they got to track their hours. They have to journal everything, every skill they learned in the process. They have to record all the money they invested or made. And we're going to try to have an FFA store where kids can actually sell their products through the store on Saturdays. So I think it'll be a really awesome opportunity for our kids. But that's kind of a quick nutshell or a quick recap of a lot of stuff that's going on.
Any other comments or questions? Roll call.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose,
Yes.
Audie,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
No.
Miller.
Yes.
That carried 16-1.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You don't need to stick around. Put your time in.
a lot that I didn't know about.
Sure, you're welcome to.
You're welcome. It's an open meeting. We're not kicking you out.
All right, item B, an invoice from Jackson and Jackson and Associates Incorporated has been received for a total of $31,985 for oversight of the office building roof installation and ventilation project. Motion to pay Jackson and Jackson and Associates Incorporated a total of $31,985 for oversight of the office building roof insulation and ventilation project. The motion carried, 9 yes, 0 no. I so move.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener. Yes. Noose.
Yes.
Audie,
Yes.
Perry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C, management recommended no changes for the fiscal year 26 salary schedule from the fiscal year 25 salary schedule. Eichenberg explained the logic and starting point behind the recommendation and answered questions. The schedule has been developed to provide guidance on fiscal year 26 salary structure. Midpoints were calculated by taking an average of 5 NRDs with similar property valuations, annual payrolls, and staffing numbers. Midpoints were then used to develop minimum 80% and maximum 120% wage limits. Salary schedules will be used in accordance with the operating policy. The proposed salary schedule is attached to the report. The motion to approve fiscal year 26 salary schedule as presented. The motion carried, 9 yes, 0 no, and I so moved.
Seconded. News. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Ebersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershelt,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Nuce,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare. Yes. Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
and Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item D, fiscal year 26 wage increase request. The executive committee discussed the wages of current staff positions. Eichenberg requested that the board authorize a 2.5% increase in the fiscal year 26 payroll for a total of $45,560 for fiscal year 26 salary increase for staff. This 2.5 increase would be provided across the board to every position except the general manager. Motion to adjust the annual fiscal year 26 salary of the district staff, except for the general manager, by 2.5% of the fiscal year 25 payroll, and to authorize the general manager to determine and make salary and wage adjustments in accordance with the operating policy. The motion carried, 9 yes, 0 no, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded. Questions or comments here? Roll call.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Ebersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershelt,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Nuce,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Perry, yes, Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
No action items. The workforce reduction of budgeted position, there was a lot of discussion on that. The fiscal year 26 draft budgets, public relations and office and administrations were discussed. You have those in your handouts. The public relations board tour update for, right now it's in August, and it will be in the southwest quadrant of the district. Dave, personnel report.
We have, got confirmation that Raymond Amoha is going to be here May 27th. He is the shared forestry position. We also have got a verbal commitment that our Hamilton County NRCS secretary will be starting next week. As soon as she shows up, she will sign the paperwork.
You can see the investments attached and the list of the upcoming events. The meeting adjourned at 10:02 PM. That concludes my report.
Comments there? Not, we move on to the financial statements. You have one in front of you. Give you a few minutes to look at it.
Motion to approve the financial statement. Pay the bill.
Moved and seconded to approve financial and pay the bills. Doug, I had a question for you. It seems like we got an awful lot of autos. Every vehicle wants to have oil change and service.
I mean, we are, everybody's out in the field though. I mean, we got a lot, everybody's going.
Isn't that part?
Yeah.
Most of
Most of it's fuel.
one tire,
That's a set of tires.
that's it, one used tire.
There is one, there was one used tire that was purchased too.
Used tire. Pretty cheap for a truck.
That's pretty common.
It's just, yeah.
You know, you got, what, I don't know how many, what do we have? 7 trucks do we have? Patty, do you know off the top of your head, how many vehicles do we have? 13? So if you got everybody running at the same time, yeah. that's
So
not bad.
where does the or the vehicles, where do you get fuel? Do we have a fuel tank or you just card somewhere
No.
uptown or where?
We have a fleet fuel cards that we have, and we actually, you have to go through and you have to apply for it, but we get like we don't have to pay like the fuel taxes and stuff. If we fill out certain paperwork, but we have a fleet card that we use, and so they just go around, and that's why usually that says WEX on there. That's the company that we have our fuel card with.
Okay.
So they try to use that if they can. If for some reason they can't use that, if it's a station that won't take it, then they just put it on their credit card.
So they can go to any gas station with that card.
Yes,
That-
yes, it's
If
pretty
they take a
widespread.
Wex card,
If they
Yeah,
take-
yeah,
there are,
they're pretty widespread.
yeah. but
So
there are
all
some-
government entities are exempt from the,
You have to apply for it.
you gotta apply for
I
it.
guess
Yeah.
if they don't know to apply for it,
Well, you'd have to pay it, but I guess I didn't realize that.
you know, I don't know how many years, it's been a long time now, but there was a time when we didn't realize that either, and I don't even know how it came up. But we found out about it, so we fill out the paperwork every year.
Yeah, something you want to say, Terry? Yeah.
On, do we pay a turn-on charge like to Butler Public Power for the irrigation well at Oxbow? Do you have a turn-on charge like we would as farmers? Do you know what I mean even?
I mean, they don't,
We're not on an interruptible phase, so no, we do not have a turn-on phase.
I think that's only if you're in the interruptible, right?
Is that correct? Somebody.
Ran off season, it's probably, it depends if it's built as an.
Well, once you hook it up, you know, that's it. Yeah, but if you have it unhooked and then hook back on, there's a charge. But I'm sure they see the meter on all the time.
Are you asking if it's interrupted?
I think that's must be what I'm asking, yes. We don't, a horse part there, thank you.
I would imagine.
I don't remember that. I just know that we had to have, you have to have like that deposit that you have to put down. And it was interesting because they go back and they look at like what your usage was and like this. Okay, and then we ended up, it was interesting because on one, we have both the supply well and then we got the recreation area. And I can't remember which one it was now, probably the one on the supply well, because we must have been pumping more to kind of get that level up. So that one, they said, oh, you're gonna have to put, we had to give them a little more money for that, but we've got a credit on the other one, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. We call it a turn-on charge. That's probably our layman's. Well, not that, that's what we call it. To turn it on, yeah, it's like, ours are like, whatever, $800 or $1,000 a well.
I don't remember details, but I know when we put the well in at Pioneer Trails, I asked if it was gonna be interruptible. And I was given a answer that satisfied me at the time that we were just as well off or better off without interruptible. So, go ahead.
On 417, we've got hotel parking, right? Is that the DC?
Yes.
That was the DC trip, and actually that's an elevated amount. I actually took half vacation time when I was gone, so I reimbursed the NRD $120. But because you need a credit card to get out of the dang parking lot anymore, I had to put it on somebody's skirt.
That's very expensive.
Any other questions? Voting on the budget. Roll call.
Eppersbacher,
Yes.
Ottershell,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes.
Noose.
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Harry, yes. Peterson,
Yes.
Siebert,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Stare,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Bethune,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
NRCS, Grant, you're up.
Aaron Shropshire. I'm
Oh,
the,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. You can call me Grant if you want to. I've been called worse. I am the resource con at the NRCS office here in York. I'm stepping in for Josh. He can't be here today. So I just have kind of an update of what we've got going on. I'll take any questions too, if you have any. Right now, the majority of our cost share contracts are obligated. Some of them are sitting at the state office awaiting approval and review. RCPP are all of our RCPP contracts are obligated or at the state office for review. And so far we've obligated about $865,000 state and local to the NRD or in the NRD. There may be some additional funds, but we're not really sure yet. Still waiting to hear about that. General CRP signups started on the 12th. And we're currently working on compliance reviews, about halfway done with that. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Josh did say to hold off any tough questions about budget and staffing and all that other stuff that we're kind of uncertain to you. So don't ask Aaron that right now.
I'll try. Shropshire. Shropshire. Yeah.
Any questions? Why did I get pulled for a spot?
Don't look at me.
It's kind of related, not this, but I had a guy this morning at the co-op getting gas, and he come and asked me, he said, somebody told him that the NRD is paying for filling in old irrigation reuse pits. And I says, I don't know anything about that. Is there any program that we pay money or how?
No.
What is the deal?
Not the NRD.
He said the NRD, and I said, no, it's not, it has to be through the NRCS. So what exactly?
It's through the Rainwater Basin Joint Venture in RCS, one of our partners. So if it's in a critical, like a wetland area, so what we're trying to do is keep water that should be going into wetlands from sitting in those old reuse pits. And so there's like a list of them. We have a list. If you want it, we can get it for you. There's the Rainwater Basin Joint Venture houses the list. And those ones that are on the list get funding first, and then anybody else can apply. But typically the ones in that list are the
Okay, so
high
there is
priority.
a program,
there
it
is.
just, you had the wrong entity.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Not too much going on. The board meeting is June 8th and 9th, and then the tour is the 9th and 10th. If anybody has questions, I'll try to answer them, but I don't know too much right now.
Andrew and I are going to, and Paul are going to participate in the tour. If there's any other directors that would like to participate, I still can get you in if you want to go.
What's the date?
9th and 10th.
Got it. Monday, Tuesday.
And where's it at this year? Where's it at? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Is there a question about it?
Hey, Paul, what's the board's, on this whole Dewey merger? Do you guys discuss that at all, or the role the NRDs are playing in that merger or anything?
We haven't talked too much about it since it's not completely sure what's gonna happen with all the staff and everything. I mean, I know Dean said that he's working with the natural resource one. I can't remember his name. He's been talking with him.
Yes, right.
Yeah. He's been talking to him and working with things with him. Yeah.
No, was Larry over here last week or whatever? He's not doing real well. For those of you that don't know, Larry Moore's health has been going downhill pretty fast. Just for the people that don't know, it's I know his daughter teaches up to Shelby, and she got called out one day or whatever and that, so. Cause my wife had to go in and teach for her, it's the only reason I knew that, but I just know Larry's not been doing very good. Just heads up for people.
And for those that weren't in attendance, Senator Hughes had got a recognition resolution read on the floor about Larry and being inducted into the Hall of Fame at the NARD conference last fall. So I read the resolution, and Larry said that it took about 3 minutes into the resolution before he realized what we were talking about. So yes, he is starting to fail a little bit.
kind of on warning that it could be made that.
Okay. So it's,
But you don't technically know till when you're already using one.
Yeah.
you said it's 5 years, 13 inches per year. Can they use more? Can you, it isn't the total over 5 years, it's actually set.
I know is what I read.
Well, okay.
The media released at 65 inches for 5 years. So
My-
I don't know how they provide more.
My take on it is 13 inches per year, they're not serious about conserving groundwater at all, because that's a lot.
Because if you look at ours, we dropped.
I can only think us, Jeffrey and I, and 2012 was the only year we've ever went over 10 inches in the last 25 years that I can remember. This year we might do it the way it looks.
I'm not sure I know the answer of it. Dave.
You have your priorities, right?
Right.
So.
My brain wasn't working.
So they would take first priority. Now, not necessarily regulate that, we regulate groundwater. They would get a historic, if we went into allocation, I can't do the, well,
If that we would go into allocation, it would be different. If the water level would go down far enough that their well would suck air, they could come and talk to us about a municipal water assistant program, but it would be their responsibility to lower that well.
So the farmers around, we won't penalize them if the town goes.
Are we talking about an allocation, or are we talking about right now when we're out of allocation?
Right now.
Right, no. It would-
That's not in a high-risk area, so they're, it's just normal spacing.
Yeah. But there's a lot of privately owned wells that weren't developed as deep as potentially could have been. And there's a lot of those that might go sucking, yeah, that.
And that's not.
Well, yeah, it's the development of that well. They can develop it deeper. There's still water underneath that land. It's not that the whole aquifer's dried up. It's that the development of that well wasn't as deep as what the irrigation well is across the road.
So if McCool's is a municipality, if their wells dry up, that deal, and we're not in allocation, it's up to them to find their own water.
Yes.
Their new one should be 20 deep, just 5 foot down.
Yeah, but the one thing is, he said she's shooting up on nitrate.
Yeah.
That was what they put it in for.
Yeah.
We held it at 2 low. Deeper.
I don't remember how much.
I don't know how deep you have to go right there before you get out. I don't.
Paul, I think we helped them with that well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh, that's right.
And it's probably longer ago than I think. Cause they can.
Well, it took
for several years from start to finish.
I think 2 years it's been finished, but.
Yeah, it was during COVID because they had trouble getting materials and stuff to get it tied in.
Going on with the compact, the lower blue, they're down 1.54, 1.5 feet, so. Our 0.39 inches or feet, whatever it is, look pretty good to me.
Well, how many, Dave, you know, outside of the southwest Nebraska, the Republican area, how many districts have allocation in place right now? Are there any? I mean, I know in the middle.
Terry, I know that the Republican River, I think the Republican River up and down have it.
In central.
Yeah, but all three of the Republicans have allocations. The lower Elkhorn has an area in their district that has allocations. Yeah, up in Niobrara White, up in the Box Butte area has allocations. But yeah, but they're not in allocations. They just went to metering everything.
Because I have a whole college here in the center, he said they're 12 inches. And that's the middle Republican.
Yeah, right.
They were 10 at one time.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Just for this year, yes.
Yeah. They've got a 3-year average too that they, or 3 or 5 that they use, but.
The stream gauges, which one of them been in since 19. Mark, what's the other? Hollenberg. Yeah. Is running about a fourth of normal right now.
Really, so.
And the last year, both of them was over those last 100 years or whatever it's been. The lowest in 5 years that they were hit. Yeah. You know, they were in that. 2014 was in that lowest 5 years.
And that, up our way, that blue, or that north branch is running as good as it has for I mean, better than it did all winter and everything else. In fact, one of the guys asked me the other day, says, why in the hell's the blue running so good? And I said, I have no clue. But, you know, some of the springs kicked in. I think you covered it well, John.
I move to adjourn the meeting. Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Motion.
same sign.
Motion carried.